Hey everybody, before you continue watching the video, make sure you give the channel a like and subscribe. Go and follow us on Instagram. Go and check out all the different social media scenarios. Make sure if you're enjoying the content, go there, like, subscribe, follow, so we can keep putting stuff out. If you've got any questions, leave a comment. All right, make a comment on either of our pages and we'll answer them as soon as we can.
Matt, you being actually, like we're talking, that same person that initially didn't want to receive much advice because it wasn't it wasn't mature enough, and he didn't know how to deal with it, suddenly becomes a coach and is doing a great job at giving the advice, which I observed as well. A lot of people give me this feedback, like even in a training session, you develop an amazing ability to give feedback to people, and that's like shaping the improvement, right? Just like I was trying to do with you, and you did it so well at absorbing all that you're actually doing. What was the how do you feel about these opportunities to be teaching here at Garra? Again, you're doing a great job. Your classes are always full. People are look forward to I think you probably did some coaching before for swimming. I think you mentioned that to me one day.
Yeah.
And that probably helps as well. Just the ability of being coaching something, and I think you expose yourself when you talk to everyone. It's it's super clear. Like you didn't have that initial trouble that people have, when they start teaching.
Yeah. It's funny you say that. Looking back when I first started coaching compared to now, I definitely was not as good. And I think coaching, just like jiu-jitsu, is just like is a skill. Yeah. And just because you're good at jiu-jitsu doesn't necessarily mean you're a good coach.
Absolutely.
And that was the biggest thing. The biggest struggle when I first started was, I can show the positions, but it's explaining why they work and why. So that was the biggest hurdle I had to overcome. And I think, coaching has definitely helped my jiu-jitsu, because you have to think about the positions on a deeper level as opposed to just doing them because that's how, this position's done. You have to actually think a step above that and go, this is why we do it. This is why it works. And this is why you put your foot here. This is why you make a grip here, because they can't post this way. So, that obviously then that understanding and that way of thinking about positions then translates into improving your jiu-jitsu itself. So that I felt like that was the biggest hurdle to overcome was, speaking in front of a class as well. Mm. I've done public speaking before, but never really taught in front of a group of adults. But yeah, actually being able to explain why the positions work, and then that was probably the biggest hurdle.
I definitely agree with what you said about the technical acquisition or improvement from teaching though. Like you truly have to understand the basis of jiu-jitsu in whatever scenario you're explaining, because if you can't do that, how can you explain that to somebody else? How can you lead someone somewhere if you don't know yourself? You know what I'm saying? So this happens to me often. I will start teaching something at the start of the week, and by the end of the week I've got 15 different extra points that I want to mention, because through the act of teaching it, I learn 20 different things that I also want to articulate and express. Now, obviously, in like a 1 hour class or an hour and 15 class, it's pretty difficult to do that. And that's why it's important that people come all the time, because, in this class, I'm going to explain this point and this point and this point. And just slowly, you're giving all the information you have to other people. And I kind of talked with a few people about it. And for me, teaching's always been challenging for different reasons. Now it's gotten to a point where it's challenging because of what I'm talking about now. It's difficult for me to describe all of the things that I want to describe in like a 1 hour class, and particularly to describe it in a way that people can understand. And kind of like the easiest way to explain it is, I talked with some guy in private that I was doing not long ago, and he's like, all right, you've got a master's degree in jiu-jitsu and we haven't even started high school yet. And you're trying to translate this information to me. And somehow you have to try and link that.
Bridge the gap.
Yeah, bridge the gap. And it's super difficult to do. And all you can do is, your best to kind of, give it to them. And like you said before, it's just because you have a lot of knowledge doesn't mean you're a good coach. And that ability to transfer that information or bridge that gap is what coaching is.
Yeah.
Thanks for watching the video, guys. Hope you enjoyed. If you did, make sure you give it a like, subscribe, and a follow. Check out all our different social media platforms. There's heaps of content coming out. There's different snippets and content on different platforms. So make sure you're on everything. And again, if it helped you out, recommend to somebody else, and hopefully it'll help them out too.